It's past the noon hour, so thanks again so much for everyone joining. I imagine we'll have some additional folks jumping in, but this is the Robotics Factory Accelerate info session, virtual info session. Wanted to spend a few minutes introducing folks that are on the call with us today. So we've got Matt Verlinich, who's our Senior Program Manager in the Manufacturing Program to my right, and then Andrew Caton is electromechanical engineer, also on the manufacturing side, and he's online with us as well. So,
hey guys,
thank you both for being here. Lastly, my name is Damon Claus. I'm the program manager across the Innovation Works hardware sectors, or hardware accelerator programs rather, which encompasses Robotics Factory. And then we also have a hardware accelerator through Alpha Lab gear. But the purpose of today, again, is to focus on the Robotics Factory Accelerate program, provide some basic information and some FAQs, but then we definitely want to leave some opportunity at the end for folks to submit questions and have a little bit of dialogue. The most important thing, perhaps, is to take away that applications are open right now, as you can see here on the screen. The cycle opened January 9th, and it closes February 20th. There is a link front and center on roboticsfactory.org. And so we would definitely say that if you're interested in applying, do it now. Please don't wait till the end. It will take some time to complete the application, but it's a worthwhile endeavor, and it helps us really understand the candidates at a deeper level. So without further ado, we'll dive in and provide some high-level context about Robotics Factory, its relationship with Innovation Works, and then walk through some of the specific benefits and how the programming and those benefits are structured. So for those of you that don't know, Robotics Factory is a partner with Innovation Works. And at its high level, Innovation Works is a recipient of the Ben Franklin Technology Grants. And one of the partners, we are based in the southwestern Pennsylvania area. So that encompasses the 9 counties that you see highlighted here around Allegheny County. Since 1999, we've invested over $117 million in companies. And then on the far right here, this infographic really highlights the fact that in addition to funding, we bring a lot more to the community and to the network in the form of expertise, network building, and then specifically we'll talk today about the physical infrastructure we have here and the ability to support founders through building robotics. Key program components as it relates to the Robotics Factory Accelerator. Again, applications are open right now. The application cycle will close February 20th, and then we immediately go into assessment of those applications, interviewing with those applicants, and then making a final determination based on the criteria and, frankly, how the applicants stack up against one another. And all that has to happen in due time, because it's in July when we officially launch the cohort. That will run through December, and it is an in-person accelerator here at our facility in Lawrenceville, referred to as TechForge. As we think about the accelerator, there's obviously the funding that we talked about and the support, but there's some really, really important components to call out here and underscore. So it comes with up to $100,000 in pre-seed funding. That comes in the form of a convertible note, paid 50% upfront upon acceptance to the accelerator program, and then the balance comes in a second tranche of funding after milestones and the program itself is complete. Of course, we offer manufacturing and product development support on site, as highlighted by both Matt and Andrew, but then a team of experts and folks who are on staff here that are working alongside you day to day. And then lastly, it's worth highlighting that IW's investor network is broad and very far-reaching. And upon acceptance into the program, you're officially a portfolio company, right? So that means that investor network, as well as mentor network, becomes a very valuable resource to you, and one that can not only help you through your stage as you are in the accelerator program, but well beyond. Once a portfolio company, always a portfolio company. So, and then lastly, it's important to call out that yes, we do have structured curriculum. We do have over the course of these 6 months, a well focused curriculum on areas that we've seen startup companies and particularly companies in the hardware and robotic space will benefit from. But we also customize it, right? So we have these on staff and on premises mentors, team of experts that can jump in really to customize the programming that is offered to the companies. So it's a wonderful hybrid of a very robust and appropriate curriculum, as well as customized programming for each individual accelerator company that comes in. And both Matt and Andrew, feel free to hop in, like I said, correct any of my my mistakes or add additional kind of clarity if needed.
No worries. Great job so far.
All right, haven't blown it yet. So just to dive a little bit deeper, and numbers and icons are great in terms of talking about the program and talking about what we offer. But because you are likely in the region or in the space, I wanted to highlight some of the recent graduates, major companies that are known here in the area and have gone on beyond Post Accelerator to do great things, in some cases raise a bunch of money or go to market in a great fashion. So this is just a small kind of subset of them, but wanted to call them out and give them a little bit of notoriety here. Below, you see that over 500 hours of one-on-one custom support. Again, this is meeting with folks like myself as a program manager to help you work through your milestones, work through your product development, and kind of business development. Over 25 skill development workshops. That's the curriculum that is regimented around customer and capital, but then also specific to hardware and robotics. And then over 250 hours of mentor coaching and 30 introductions per company. So not all of the companies on this screen, took advantage of all the offerings that we have here, but at a general sense, there's a lot of support. That's the main takeaway for these slides. Also want to highlight the specific team. So you can see here a really group of great people who have not only the accessibility that you would want, but also the technical and the professional background. The way we structure the program here is a managing director, Kevin Dowling, oversees all of the programming and the team here. But then we also have a very robust manufacturing team. I've already highlighted Matt and Andrew are part of, and then rounded out with some other robotics technicians and program associate, Tony. And then we have a group of portfolio executives who come alongside you during the accelerator program and after the accelerator program to really help you think through business challenges, opportunities for growth, connections within the network, and of course, thinking about investment. And then lastly, several entrepreneurs in residence that you can see here on the screen that, again, very accomplished in their career, but also technically capable and able to provide that one-on-one support. Not called out here, but mentioned on a previous program or previous slide is the mentorship opportunities. So there is a group of mentors that are frankly too long to list on here, but we really try to be thoughtful about leveraging those mentors and pairing them one-on-one with each accelerator company so that their technical background and their expertise can match with yours as well, to make sure, again, that you get that customized, tailored support. From a programmatic standpoint, we talked about the curriculum. It runs the course of the entire 6 months. So those come in the form of workshops. Some are virtual sessions, some are hands-on right here in the space. But in addition to that, we've got several goals that each of the companies will design with the team that you just saw on the previous page, and then work towards accomplishing. So this is generally 4 to 6 milestones that are specifically designed around your company, but they tend to focus on a couple core key areas that are going to advance not only your technical capabilities, but of course your business and growth opportunity as you work towards things like commercialization. So focusing on the market to make sure that you've got customer validation and that you've got a sales process and pipeline and line of sight as to what that looks like is one area that we tend to focus on. Another, of course, is your technology, making sure that your prototype, whatever its stage, either previous, if you're prior to having a prototype, getting you to that point, or, maybe it's a version 2 or 3 of your prototype. And then, of course, preparing you to scale manufacturing. And then lastly, the financial component is a really important one, not only, from a fundraising perspective, but also how are you generating revenue? How are you planning to commercialize the solution that you're bringing to market? And all the things that go along with each one of those, whether it be, a very robust 3 to 5 year financial outlook that fundraisers are going to want to see, or, a very well formatted P&L that gives you line of sight to what that revenue is going to be, and then kind of below the line costs that are going to make sure that you're maintaining or, working towards profitability in an appropriate fashion. So again, those are customized milestones per company, but they generally tend to fall in these 3 buckets as we design them. Additional resources through Innovation Works that we provide to all of the cohort. So again, investor introductions, we've talked about that, but a structured demo day that allow you to get in front of investors and pitch, develop some of those relationships, and of course, develop that skill of pitching. It's a really important one as you think about growing your business and getting in front of partners, be it investors or not. Marketing and PR side of things is a really important benefit. So press announcements, we do a lot on social media, and we have a meaningful following. So highlighting our cohort, not only when they enter the program, but then also when they graduate and when you achieve milestones or make major accomplishments throughout. And of course, we can offer digital brand guidance on your own social media and your own platforms as you're looking to grow your network and grow your audiences. And then finally, the portfolio network, as I mentioned, once you join, you're part of that network. And over 350 diverse companies. While it's just a number on the page here, it doesn't really even begin to underscore or articulate how important that is. And those of you that are already in the space and in the community understand how important that is. So we're really excited about offering that to portfolio companies as they enter the accelerator. We also have a partnership with the Pittsburgh Robotics Network, an entity that, again, if you're in the space, particularly here in the geography, you're probably well aware of. But our mentorship program and our mentors come directly from them. So they manage that program with us, and they've done a phenomenal job of curating folks and getting folks who are technically capable, well developed in their careers, and can provide one-on-one mentorship in person, virtually, and kind of around your schedule. We also have participation or opportunity to participate in Robotics Demo Day during the Pittsburgh Robotics Week. This past November, it took place, I think, was it the 3rd time? Maybe misquoting, but
yes, I believe.
But we'll go with 3rd, and very well attended. It's down at the David L. Lawrence Convention Center. So Robotics Discovery Day is the specific event, and all of our last cohort that came through Robotics Factory got up on stage, shared their company and their story, and had a pitch, and beyond that had a booth, so that they were able to make really, really important connections, be it on the investor or sales side of things. And then, of course, with entry into the Robotics Factory Accelerate Program comes a membership to the Pittsburgh Robotics Network. In addition to all the benefits that we've talked about, this is a bit of a deeper dive, but it bears, sharing and underscoring the importance of it. So guidance navigating the Robotics Network, the Robotics Network, all of the folks that you saw on the earlier slide not only have a history of working in this space, but also active roles, and in many cases, thought leaders, right? So the ability to help you think through shifting dynamics, be it on the commercialization side or the technical side, those folks are here in our space and able to provide that real-time guidance and direction. Introduction to key robotics players goes very closely along with our team's standing in the space and their ability to make those introductions for you. Of course, in-house manufacturing resources. Matt's team has an entire program called the Scale Program. So while you're in the Accelerate program, the machine shop, the physical space is here and available to use, but there's also an entirely separate program called Scale that is a bolt-on or an add-on as well. And then lastly, the 12-month space here in Lawrenceville and the prototyping shop. I don't know if you wanted to articulate that at all, Andrew or Matt, on the Scale side.
Yeah, so as Damon had mentioned, we run a variety of workshops as part of the hardware track of both accelerator programs, Accelerate and gear to make sure that you guys develop a really solid design control package so that you can effectively work with outside manufacturers whenever your time comes to scale. We also run the prototyping shop like a makerspace with additional consultants like Andrew, who can not only just help you learn to use the equipment to prototype your products for yourself, but can also jump in and directly assist you to really accelerate your ability to iterate on your prototypes and optimize the design for product market fit and manufacturing.
And I don't want to, talk it up too much, but I'm pretty excited about our ability to offer the prototyping shop. Matt had mentioned, it's a maker space, but it's much more than that because candidly, I haven't seen a maker space quite set up like this. We've got about $1 million in equipment, pretty advanced capabilities, CNC machining, laser cutters that can do plastics or, hardened steel. We have grinding, welding. We have stuff to do PCB, soldering and layup. So it's really quite a wide array of capabilities that we've set up that you'll have unrestricted access to.
Yeah, and you can see the full list of our equipment and capabilities on the Robotics Factory website under the scale.
It's great. Thank you, Matt and Andrew. And, one of the small comments that Andrew made here is worth calling out that unrestricted space means 24/7, right? So this space here, based in Tech Forge in Lawrenceville, right in kind of Robotics Row, as they call it, is just an incredible opportunity and resource to be leveraged as you're in the program and beyond. So definitely want to highlight that. So as we round out the presentation and the content with the slides, I want to just lay it out very clearly for everyone so you've got line of sight as to what happens between now and when the accelerator ends in December of 2025. The application closes on February 20th, so can't stress enough, even if you go in there and start the application, that's fine, but it's on a platform called F-Success. So if you see that when you click on the links across Robotics Factory and a lot of the publications we've been making, you're in the right place. And we encourage you to put as much information as possible there, to upload videos, to upload pitch decks, any content that you think will help paint a better picture of the type of applicant and company that you are. Those applications will be, after it closes, those applications will be reviewed. And then we'll start scheduling interviews with those that we find are appropriate candidates and are qualified and would like to have more information on. So that will take place March through April. And then essentially from April till May, we'll have our own due diligence process. And that's when the legal team here says, okay, we've got our list of candidates and folks who are appealing and would like to bring in. And then they'll just go through the appropriate checks to make sure that, there are no legal hurdles. And I call that out because we do have a on-staff legal team who walks us through that process and is very clear about what's needed to be eligible. And if you don't have a key component of that eligibility, then they give you very clear direction on how to overcome it. And then May through June, offers are made. So they come out in the form of an offer letter that is signed, and then we work towards getting everyone onboarded and ready to go by July 2025. And it's that full 6 months until December. Right before the holidays, we have a graduation and an acknowledgement of all the milestones and accomplishments you've made across the accelerator, and it's in front of the whole team here, and it's definitely a celebratory atmosphere. As you're thinking about application, some things to keep in mind. These are the qualities across most of the candidates that we see that become strong applicants. So we want to make sure that you're engaged in customer discovery and have a proven need for a technical solution. This is really important. As a founder myself and someone who obviously has an affinity towards hardware, we all love to build. The reality is that oftentimes we can speed through the customer discovery process, and that's a critical part of it. Identifying that what you're building is solving a need and that there are customers who are out there willing to pay for it, and is a critical component of a quality applicant. And so I'd encourage you to think thoughtfully about that. Having a funnel for pilots or early customers, similarly, demonstrating that you've got either market fit or you're on your way to identifying that market and capitalizing it is really important. And then the idea that you've formed a company with a strong founding team is important as a consideration to make sure that there's longevity, there's opportunity for growth, and there's opportunity for jobs, which is one of the key determining factors for us as we consider applicants. And then finally, it's not necessary, but having early prototype or patentable technical product with high growth potential is obviously a major plus. So if you're coming to the table saying, I've already got a prototype, I just need help refining it and kind of getting it to the next stage or getting it to the ability to scale for manufacturing, that's a major sign of a quality applicant. Before we dive into official kind of Q&A, some frequently asked questions that might check off the boxes before you have a chance to ask them. The investment terms are in the form of a $100K convertible note. As I mentioned, that comes in 2 tranches, one at the beginning and then one upon completion. And in return, IW takes a 2% equity in each. Do you need to be based in Pittsburgh? Yes, you do. Not Pittsburgh, sorry, based in southwestern Pennsylvania. If you think back to those earlier slides, we've got a 9-county area that we are mandated to serve as a function of our charter and our requirements. So you have to be based, and you need to remain in PA for 5 years post-accelerator. You need to maintain a presence in PA. That does not preclude you from having customers outside of here or potentially other operational bases, but you need to be based here and you need to have a presence here for 5 years post-accelerator graduation. And then finally, what kind of tech companies are you looking for? So very clearly, on the nose, robotics companies, but also robotics adjacent companies. An example of that is someone who's thinking about applying, and we've encouraged to apply. They're developing a strategy and a mechanism for leveraging existing robotics technologies into a more streamlined process to revolutionize an existing industry. So just because you're not making the technical robotic product doesn't discount you from being a potential applicant. So my last call out here is if you have questions that aren't answered here, or you don't want to ask them in the public forum, please take advantage of the office hours that are available. So again, if you go to roboticsfactory.org, you're going to see an apply up at the top, but then there's a button there that says office hours. You click on that, it'll take you directly to my office hours, so you'll be in touch with the right person. And then you can just pick a time from the Calendly link, and there's opportunity to schedule as many times as you need. So I'm definitely open to questions and multiple rounds of discussion. And then, of course, Matt and Andrew, if needed or appropriate, we can pull them in to answer more technical-based questions if I can. So that's the end of the official presentation that we have. I've been told never to do a live demo, but I'm thinking I'm going to try to do the Q&A to make sure that we can answer and catch any questions. So bear with me. Okay, so it looks like the Q&A is up and running. If you put in a question, it will show up here on my screen, and then I will just answer it live kind of here. And again, if it doesn't answer your question or you have more follow-up needed, I really encourage you to hit the office hours links. But the first one is non-disclosures were not mentioned. How is this handled? So generally speaking, without more context, I don't want to just assume I know what you mean by non-disclosures.
Yeah, we don't typically. So we'd encourage companies, to sign non-disclosures with other companies, but we don't typically sign non-disclosures because we invest in so many companies, similar to how any venture capital firm any reputable venture capital firm in the US has a similar policy. That being said, we do have workplace agreements here where anything that we talk about with the companies is confidential. So you're protected in your one-on-one sessions with Damon.
Thank you for jumping in there, Andrew. I'm assuming that satisfies the question that was asked. But again, if not, you can pop back in and answer or ask another question. So. Any other questions? We don't have anything on the Q&A, but any other questions, please feel free now to drop them in there. As you're thinking about the application process, I do want to underscore how important it is to, put as much information in there as you can. Almost all of the fields are required, but beyond that, as much as you can articulate about the not only the product or the technical solution you're bringing to market, but the team structure, what kind of customer discovery, what kind of market segment identification you've done, really helps the interviewing team and the team that's going to review the applicants get a better sense of who you are and kind of what state you're in as a company.
I would also encourage you to apply and complete the application as early as possible, and then really make use of office hours. This is not an all or nothing kind of deal. If you want us to review the application and give you feedback, we can do that within the office hours construct, provided that you've actually completed the application. So don't wait until the last minute to put everything in and then just hope that it's what we were looking for.
Definitely good guidance. And it looks like we did answer the question about non-disclosures. Follow-up from the person who asked it is mainly focused on or concerned about confidentiality as it relates to patents. Yes, and of course, Andrew, it's a great call out to mention that we don't, as practice, sign non-disclosures because of the breadth of our portfolio and kind of our agreements here and tied to IW. But you should, of course, assume that if we're working on confidential information, we make a practice of not sharing that, right?
I would also emphasize that we have a vested interest in your success, and so it's not in our best interest to divulge competitive secrets.
And just to sort of piggyback on that, so in terms of like patentability, that is a really critical thing to be thinking about. And we actually have curriculum designed specifically to address that situation. How do you talk about technologies with potential strategic partners when you need to bring them in early, but something isn't, fully developed in market or the patent's not issued? Our managing director, Kevin Dowling, has over 80 patents issued as an inventor. And he and Parag, who's also a serial entrepreneur and very successful, have developed this curriculum and addressed these subjects specifically.
Great. Thank you, Andrew and Matt. Any other questions that we can answer here live? Give it one last call. And again, if you come up with a question afterwards, or you're thinking through something as you're going through the application process, it's not a hollow offer, and that the office hours are there to be used by you, and I'm happy to fill them up. Chances are, if you've got the question, someone else might be thinking it or would benefit from the answer. Okay, well, really appreciate the time and everyone who attended. This will be available. It is recorded. I don't know exactly how we're going to make it available, but I will check with Ray and team to make sure that it is, if you need to rewatch it. But again, big thank you to Andrew and Matt for sitting in today and giving their expertise and keeping me on the straight and narrow. And really excited to hopefully meet you all and be reviewing applications. So please reach out if you have any questions at all, and look forward to reviewing applications soon. All right.
Thank you.